when the daughter asked, she said, well, what are you doing in here with my daughter's father? This is your granddaughter's father. And the mother proceeded to gaslight her and shift the blame. She said, well, you don't know how to treat him right. And it was strange that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. She's, her daughter is asking her a question like, what are you doing with in bed with your granddaughter's father? That's my baby's dad. He lives with me. And so they got into a big argument. It was a big argument, and she ended up throwing both of them out of the house. But that's a clear example of a narcissistic mother. Narcissistic mothers, especially within the Black community, a lot of narcissistic mothers tend to compete with their daughters. And we know, I'm pretty sure most of us know of a woman who has a difficult relationship with her mother. And her mother always competes with her, always puts her down, makes her feel as though she's not good enough, that she needs the advice of her mother. Maybe what she does is when the daughter has a child, she makes the daughter feel like she doesn't know what she's doing when it comes to raising a kid. She doesn't know what she's doing when it comes to dealing with a man, these kind of things. There was a video in one of the shows that I did where I showed a video clip of a woman who found her mother in bed with her baby's daddy. She found her in bed with her baby's dad. I'm not going to show that because they were hitting folks with copyright claims because they wanted to take that down. And so when the daughter asked, she said, well, what are you doing in here with my daughter's father? This is your granddaughter's father. And the mother proceeded to gaslight her and shift the blame. She said, well, you don't know how to treat him right. And it was strange that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. She's, her daughter is asking her a question like, what are you doing with in bed with your granddaughter's father? That's my baby's dad. He lives with me. And so they got into a big argument. It was a big argument, and she ended up throwing both of them out of the house. But that's a clear example of a narcissistic mother. And sometimes you have narcissistic mothers who try to ingratiate themselves with their daughter's spouse, even though, or boyfriend, even though they don't have a good relationship with their daughter. Right? It's a manipulation tactic. And so that's an example of some of the things that goes on in the Black community. Right. So a lot of these narcissistic mothers, they don't want their daughters to do better at them than at anything. Right. And by constantly telling their daughters that, hey, all men are going to leave you, all men are dogs. What they're doing is they're providing an excuse for why they themselves could never keep a man, or they themselves couldn't get a man, right? Let me see. So hold on one second. So let me read this. So Rico the Boss says low income women will no longer value their daughter once they have a child. The younger child represents an extension of benefits. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, as long as she's getting benefits off of the child, everything is good. But once she has her own child and she's going to move out, the relationship shifts. Is that what you're suggesting? Let me know. Send something in the chat and let me know. So by the time these young girls, by the time these young girls get a certain age, they're already competing with them. And don't let the little girl be cute and get more attention than the mother did at that age. And she'll get really aggressive with them, right? She'll get really aggressive with their daughter, make the daughter feel less than. And what often happens is you end up having these young girls who feel like they're not getting any love at home or not receiving any love at home. And so what they then do is they want to have a baby because they want to live vicariously through that baby. They want to create a loving environment that they never received, right? They want to pour in a lot of love into that baby that they never received from their mother. And that's why you have a lot of these young girls trying to have babies at such a young age. A lot of that stems from issues at home, issues with their mothers, issues with fatherlessness. It all begins at home. And it's surprising that we don't talk enough about the fact that a lot of the issues that we have in our community stems from issues at home. And it's not just the fact that the father is not there. It's not the fact that the father is it's not the fact, let me retract. They paint this picture that daddy just up and left. And it could be that mama just drove him out, because narcissistic mothers don't tend to like alpha men or dominant men. They tend to like men that are betas and that are subservient. Think about every couple that you knew where the woman was loud and she was direct and she was very bossy. Wasn't her boyfriend or husband docile? Wasn't he docile? Yeah, because that's what they want. They want a beta man that they control. They're like Rasputia in the movie Norbit. They want somebody that's weak, and then they'll go out and cheat on that beta male, but he better not cheat on them. I don't know if any of you seen the movie Rasputia. So let me read some of these chats. Okay, so Hanifa says sacred cows for sure. Yeah, they are definitely sacred cows. We can't say anything about mothers, and I'm not talking about all mothers. I'm just talking about narcissistic mothers. And I know, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't medically diagnose. I'm just talking about those mothers that exhibit narcissistic traits. And we see a lot of it. We see a lot of it in our communities, and we say nothing. We don't say much about it, right? These narcissistic moms that exist within our communities, they do a lot to sabotage their daughter's relationship. As I just mentioned, that scenario where the mother was found in bed with her daughter's with her granddaughter's father was an example of a narcissistic mother trying to sabotage her daughter's relationship. There's no reason why an adult woman should be laying in bed with her daughter's baby daddy. None at all. And to try to justify it by saying that well, you're not treating him right. Well, that tells me y'all already been sleeping together. You've been sleeping together for a long time, because that's very bold to say that, right? And so, again, as I mentioned earlier, they'll do things like try to make themselves alluring and pleasing to their daughter's man. They want to seduce their daughter's boyfriend or husband, right? They tend to be very hard and aggressive on their daughters. They tend to bully them. And the only way to satisfy these types of mothers is to actually be a carbon copy of them, or to just acquiesce to every single demand that they come up with. You have to be a people pleaser. And this is the issue that we have. I'm going to go over to the comments, but this is the issue that we have in our community, where we have women who are either carbon copies of their mothers, and they rule with an iron fist. They don't want to deal with any alpha male because they have to be the most dominant voice in the room. They have to win every exchange, every argument. They don't allow for men to talk. These are all not alpha traits, but sometimes they can be very narcissistic, where the only voice they feel needs to be heard is their own, right? What I say matters. What you say doesn't matter. I don't care about your feelings. The only feelings that matter are my own.